Going to car shows can be exciting, seeing everything from expensive sports cars to creative builds. These shows are more than just about seeing cool cars. It's about the community. And the car community isn't just about the vehicles, it's about the people.
The car community in a nutshell is basically just like a collective of people that are into cars, whether it be like off-roading vehicles or like drag cars, or just like any basically like car, essentially.
It's mostly just a group of friends that get together with like-minded people. They get together to enjoy the same style cars all at once. I know a lot, especially like with me and my friends, we're all like family with each other. We'll help each other out whenever. We all just, help each other out, always work on all of each other's stuff.
No, but honestly, I would say the car community is very different than it is nowadays. Before, I think everyone was more so into like just drag racing. Now everyone has like drifting, autocross a lot more. But the car community is still overall family. Everyone's kind of in their own like clique, sort of say. Whether you're like imports, whether you're domestic, exotic. Some people are like rallycross type of cars. But overall, it's just one big family.
Not everyone's in it. You have to be into cars. A lot of people grew up with cars. Like my dad liked cars, got me into cars. And the meets around here are really to just kind of express everyone's different view on cars. People love doing things their own way. And in a way, through meets, you can appreciate everyone's different builds, stuff like that. But really, it's like a good tight friend group. I can't explain it.
Getting into cars isn't something that happens overnight. Everyone has their own unique stories on how cars became such a big part in their lives.
Finally get into cars because that was a car I feel like I can care about. And through that's when I finally just went off the deep end, was able to finally just say, hey, let's go for it. I feel like I have a car I can care about. At least that's how I felt towards it. So ever since then, it's been just full go, 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 just everything, eat, sleep, breathe cars.
My father. We built an 87 Chevy C10 truck growing up. He bought it when I was like 5 years old. And from then on, I was always going to car shows with him, or just like, we were building up that truck, just going to different events, just doing, fun car stuff, always going to like drag strips or different things.
Like getting started into cars is mainly just from like watching like the Fast and Furious movies growing up, and like playing like different car games, whether it be like Need for Speed or the different Burnout games.
First started getting into cars as a kid, playing the Need for Speed games. Would have like the Need for Speed Hot Pursuit on my PSP, and really started looking at cars and always kind of wanted a Lamborghini or something like that when I was a kid. The fastest car that was on the video games, and then it kind of grew from there as I grew up more and more, and went through high school and saw other people with sports cars, and then into college with more sports cars and getting my own sports car.
Honestly, my dad. So my grandpa, he retired from General Motors, so he grew up with cars his entire life. He had Corvettes, Camaros, Novas, Chevelles, and then my dad kind of passed that on to me. Growing up, I really liked the Corvettes and the C6s. I still do, but now I'm a little bit more of a JDM, like Euro guy. And then each car manufacturer now, they keep pushing boundaries, and that's also really intriguing. So I know there's a lot of electric cars in the world right now, but there's still good companies that are wanting to keep the cars alive, and I'm gonna try to keep pushing for that.
It mostly started with just American vehicles, Camaros, like old 60s, 70s, all that kind of stuff. But I quickly got into like grip racing and drifting, but like Japanese styling and all that kind of stuff. And from there, once I found that, it really just bloomed from there and quickly grew. And now I'm just super into mostly Japanese stuff.
Not all car meets are the same. Some might only feature certain types of cars, and others don't have any limitations.
You will have some meets where it may just be like a strictly like Japanese car meet, but you also have like the meets that are like just Mopar meets. But for the most part, car meets are definitely like whatever anybody has, is not really like restricted on like one brand or like one make. And so it's definitely kind of cool because you get to see like the different tastes that people have. Like someone like me who mainly likes Dodge, like I'll pull up in a Dodge, whereas you could also have somebody that only likes Nissan, so they pull up in a Nissan. And it's kind of cool just to see like how everybody's taste in cars differs. Some people like to like modify their cars to where they're super low to the ground and the wheels are tilted in. Some people don't like that also. So it's just very interesting to see like the different tastes that people have.
Car meet, everyone's kind of just hanging out, bringing out their cars, kind of show off, kind of like, they might have like plaques next to the car, kind of like explaining it sometimes. They have like their hoods popped, just kind of overall showing off what your car is, what can be, and like maybe how long they've had it and so forth. I'm not much of a drag racer. I'm more of someone that's been around drift events and building cars. So for me, with like drift events, you usually always work on someone's car, but it's all for fun. Like drifting is more about everyone having fun, even though everyone's trying to do their best, you know, but it's not like a competition of, you know, I have to be so much better than you. It's everyone's pushing each other and having fun.
Being constantly exposed to different types of cars and rebuilds, your dream car tends to change over time.
I think every car guy doesn't have one single dream car. Like maybe they do, but realistically they're gonna want a lot. They want to experience all the different cars because no car is the same. And man, like I said, I really like the C6s growing up, the Corvettes. Now it's kind of shifted into the C7 because it's a more modern C6. Then you've got like your unrealistic dream cars, like the hypercars and stuff like that. So it's always changing.
Yeah, so my dream car started as, as like a Lamborghini as a kid, and then in 2009 the GTR came out, and I said, man, I love that car. I absolutely want one someday. And actually in college, I met somebody that owned a GTR, and I was taking photos for them, and I said, in 5 years, I will buy a GTR, and 5 years later, I ended up buying a GTR. And then I had the M4 as a dream car, partially when I got out of college. Some of my coworkers had some M4s, and I said, man, I really love how those cars look as well. So I've been able to purchase, luckily, both an M4 and a GTR, and missed the GTR, but maybe I'll get another one someday.
For me, I've just always been a fan of Dodge. Like I said, ever since I was a kid, I really wanted a Viper, and that's like still very much so a dream car of mine, is to own a Viper. Like there's not really specifically anything about Dodge that has made me like the brand. I definitely like bigger cars. Like I don't like being in like a small car. I like actually being able to like be on the road and not have to worry about like people not seeing me. So that's kind of one reason why I like the car that I have, my Charger. But I would definitely say like a Viper is still very much so a dream car. So that's one reason that I've always liked Dodge.
When cars are such a big part of your life, it is no surprise that some people will also lean on them to help them relax and deal with stressful situations.
I would say 50-50. I love driving the cars, but there's something about being proud of what you did after a course of time, even though it comes after a bunch of frustration and so forth. It's very rewarding after you get a big portion done. So driving can be like really calming for me. There's nights where you just open up the sunroof, you just want to cruise at night and just get the wind flowing through the car and music up and just enjoying life, and kind of like another way to just vent, just have your own space.
Clearing your thoughts, because that's more or less what it is about. Is I really don't think anything other than just being able to just enjoy what I'm doing, just kind of clear my head. just embrace the atmosphere whenever it comes to going on a cruise. Listen to the car, just kind of like disconnecting, but connecting to the car itself to kind of get a better idea of what it's doing, and then focusing on that. Like there's a connection that is so hard to explain through words, through feeling. Only people that can really get that are the people who are also in the same hobby, who do the same exact thing.
So definitely with like driving by yourself, it's kind of more relaxing because you're not really having to worry about other people. But when you're driving with a group of people, you're having to worry about, where everybody is at. And like some people may not be at the same like driving level as others. And so you kind of like have to take that into consideration. Versus when you're just driving by yourself, all you're really doing is worrying about yourself and your car and not really having to worry about others in their car.
If I'm feeling that, it really depends on the mood. Like if I'm just wanting to go out on a drive, then I'll do. I won't tell anybody. But for the most part, I still like going and hanging out with friends. So I usually will tell people that, hey, I'm ready to go on a cruise. Let's go do something.
I think it's kind of more like some people sleep at night with the black noise or white noise and so forth. It's one of those things where it's just calming, and I get to hear like the turbo spool, and it's just enjoyable.
How can I say, like upbeat type music, stuff that I feel like I can kind of like just zone out to, but also be able to focus on like driving the way I want to drive, whether it is at a cruise or more of a spirited cruise. But yeah, I do actually set my playlist kind of more accordingly. Or there's sometimes where I just turn the music down and just roll the windows down and just listen to the car. Just have an exhaust on it for a reason. So
I'd much rather like driving. I mean, at the same time, it's also cool to build because you kind of are able to do your own taste on it, and versus like just driving. I don't know, it kind of goes like hand in hand because you can build to drive. I mean, I do like driving around. It's definitely fun, especially like when you get a group of people together and you decide to take back roads, and like you're able to kind of push your car to its limits a little bit more. It's also fun to just like go to a track and just see how fast you can go.
They're a good escape because it's a good hobby that I feel connected to through whether it's the ability of being able to drive them however I feel like it from time to time, be able to take it on track, be able to take it, out on a cruise with a bunch of friends. It's a good escape because there's a lot of things in this world that we'd rather not want to talk about, deal with. So cars are our escape, kind of how other hobbies people have for their escape. I thoroughly enjoy it. It's a great time. I have met a lot of wonderful people and will continue to meet a lot of people through the events and whatnot that I organize. It's a great escape. I have nothing else for it other than, yeah, it's a great escape.
I mean, definitely like being in a group and being able just to like go for drives is very nice because you can basically like set up going for a drive, whether it be like taking back roads or just like driving somewhere. Like I've done multiple trips to Tulsa with a couple buddies, and we'll just basically hop in the cars and just go.
We have a couple routes that we go out to, like Eureka Springs, whether it be the north or south route. We do have annual cruises that go out to like Branson. We have cruises that go out to Jasper. So if I'm ever feeling it, I probably will choose some of the more local stuff like the Eureka Springs, but we have cruises that we set going out to Pig Trail, going out to Jasper is one of the more fun ones, it's a longer one. So we do have a couple routes. It's kind of hard to tell from time to time which one we want to take, but yeah, we have a couple designated ones.
I just kind of just go. Maybe more so like areas that just so it's not like, why you're around here type of thing, kind of suspicious. But no, it's just more so go where you love to go, where you want to be.
Being in the car community can also lead to different creative opportunities through the people you meet.
My contribution to the car world right now is photography, and I'm really blessed I can do that because growing up I was always kind of creative. I was always drawing, and now I've kind of transformed that into my art, my photography. So now I get to visualize what I see in my head, and I can actually take photos of it, and surprisingly people like them. And I keep getting handed like lottery ticket after lottery ticket and opportunities to go shoot these crazy cars. And I'm really glad that I can inspire others and essentially just put my work out there. Just keep shooting. Just keep shooting. Take your camera everywhere. Don't stop. And like before all of the Instagram photographers and the car spotters like swarmed all the meets, it was like me and like maybe another photographer at meets that were taking photos. But I went out to every meet I could. I shot at every meet. Now that's different. Now you kind of have to be a little bit different and like set private shoots up. That's another thing is you have to, when people see pictures at like a car meet, they're typically not anything crazy. Where you're gonna get the really good pictures is if you go up to a specific car and go to like a specific location, like ask the owner like, hey, I'll do free photos for you, just meet me here at this time. And that's the way you can get better photos that like kind of catch your eye, is to have a setting that complements the car and then try to work that car into that setting, if that makes sense.
Having a nice sports car or creative build does have its perks, even when just driving down the street.
I don't know, it's fun. It's enjoyable because like you have people just, oh man, as you're walking past, or they're like, hey, cool car, you know, it's like, it just feels nice. It just feels cool.
Having like a nicer car, like a sports car, you're able to kind of like push it to its limits more. You're able to just do more than you would just like a regular car.
It's unreal. It's unfathomable, honestly. It feels like you shouldn't be doing it. Because most of the supercars, realistically, probably shouldn't be on the street. Like, they're way more capable. They should really stay on tracks, but driving them is honestly unreal. It's so real. It really is.
Being at a car meet, and if your car's in it, it's definitely it's an experience you have to kind of get used to, where like the more you go to meets, the more people you're gonna know, so the more people you're gonna run into that you're gonna know, and it'd be like, oh, I want to talk to this person, but I also want to talk to this person. But at the same time, like there's people that might want to ask you questions about your car, but you kind of just, if you don't want to have like questions consistently asked, it's good to just like walk around and talk with people.
Having a nice car is fun, but not everyone can afford one. Is having a nice car a requirement when going to a car meet?
No, you can still go and enjoy the cars. You just may not be able to park up in the front row, but you can still go and enjoy.
You do not need a cool car. Like I said, I had a 2004 Toyota Camry, so not cool at all by any means. The most average car you could buy. And just started going to the car meets and taking photos and meeting people. People would let me ride in their cars, and I'd go on some rallies just riding around with people, and so don't need any special car to do it.
No, but it does help. The only reason why it helps is because if you show up in a cool car, people want to talk to you. Whereas if you're just some rando off the street, some people are really stuck up and won't talk to people if they don't have something cool. But most of the time, you could find like-minded people that will talk to you about their car and just are excited to talk about their car.
You definitely do not need a cool car. I mean, it helps. It helps with like starting conversations, but also it's like if you don't have a cool car and say like you're wanting a cool car, for example, like if you see a Camaro and you're wanting a Camaro, you could like find out who owns it and be able to like talk with them about it. But I would say no, you don't necessarily need to have a cool car to go. It's definitely like with some car meets, like there's car shows and then there's car meets. Car meets are definitely more for like just like hanging out with people and meeting up with people, versus car shows are actually like, you know, you're putting your car on display. So as far as like for car meets, it doesn't really matter if you have like a cool car or not.
For someone wanting to get into cars and start showing up to car meets, going to your first meet can be daunting, but don't let that scare you.
For somebody that's never been to a car meet, honestly, the best advice is just to go and just kind of like be open to like either people coming up to you or you going up to somebody to start a conversation with them. I remember when I first started going to car meets, I didn't know like anybody, and basically it all started just from knowing one person that was into cars to now it's like I go to a car meet and I know a bunch of people there, and then I run into the issue of wanting to talk to one person and kind of not being able to talk to everybody that I would want to talk to. But yeah, definitely just like going to meets with like an open mind and being willing to like talk to people and just being able to have a conversation with people.
Don't overdo it. Just pick a platform that you're interested in. Don't overbuild it. Get something that you enjoy and just drive it off the beginning. Don't just start building off the beginning and say, I'm going to do this, that, and other. Everyone's already done it. Unless you have just like this ginormous amount of money. You know, someone's already done it. So just get out there, enjoy. Everyone's going to appreciate you driving and hanging out.
I'll say this. If you're a person that has no real interest or has like a slight interest in cars, has never really found a good like way of getting involved with the car scene, the car community, don't be afraid to come on out to one of the local car events, especially one of the more officially like held, put together events. Like you'll have some of the events that are held by Spectre. You'll have good events like that. You'll have events, regular weekly events like Tuner Tuesday that I normally put on myself. You'll have other events that like OZK Raps will also be putting on. Just try to be more in the loop by going to the 479 Tuner community page on Facebook. If you are interested in getting in more events or wanting to get a feel for how the community is, how the hobby itself is, that's a good way of doing it. I promise you we're not all that scary, so just come on out, have a good time.
It's definitely best to just go because you'll never know who you'll meet. I've made some of my best friends that I would have never expected to meet from going to car meets. Like one of my best friends, I just randomly met him at a car meet, and now I've spent so much time with him and done so many things with him, and that's like a friendship that I will appreciate for the rest of my life. And you never really know who you'll meet at a car meet and the connections you'll make.
For people that are interested in cars and wanting to start going to car meets, it may be easier than you think to find a local car event.
For anybody like wanting to get into like car meets and whatnot, definitely like social media platforms are going to be like your big thing as far as like finding events. Also just kind of like becoming friends with people that go to events. That's also a good way because it's like you'll meet one person that goes to like this event. Well, then while you're at that event, you might meet another person that goes to other events. And it's just kind of like a very expanding thing.
Try to follow as many car pages as you can, Instagram, Facebook. There's a lot of Facebook groups. Like here in the area, I know every area is different, but our area code's 479. There's a big Facebook group called 479 Tuner Community. They post a lot of stuff. And then just try to be involved in local events, if that makes sense. The more you're out, the more you're gonna get connections and learn about new people and new groups and stuff like that.
Yeah, so right now, Facebook events is a great way to see what's happening in the car community. You can search up car on Facebook events and you'll see Cars and Coffee every month. And then a lot of autocross and track events are also posted to Facebook events. I know some people that have cars, if you follow their Instagram, they'll talk about what car show is coming up, or they'll post on their story what shows are happening that day. And you can for sure ask them.
Just join a local car community page and just show up to the car events that they put on there. Just show up, find a car that you like, and try and find the owner to talk to them about it.
As you have seen, the car community is like a family, a place where anyone can come out, show off their cars, and just bond over their love for cars. I can't wait to see you out there. Anything else you want to add?
Lower your cars. lower them.
Why should they lower them?
Because style is everything. Always.